Guys, I watched The Penguin Show, and I am absolutely dumbfounded by the absence of
Kawasaki, Cago, Krico y Estripper.
If you're expecting them to turn up, expect again. This show is not that kind of fun show. This is an adult show about penguins. I remember when he was just a wee oversized, humongous tiny bird. Now he's starring in his own show. Time flies, even if he can't. From the revered visionary that brought the world sad monkey films, now comes Penguin Show. This Penguin Show is actually, all jokes aside, pretty phenomenal. It rings peak Daredevil and Gotham, but with exceptional writing and acting. I watched this amidst my Sopranos binge, and let me tell you, this gives me major Sopranos vibes.
Gabagool.
We follow Oz Cobb, aka the Penguin, who is fed up publishing all those books by himself as he tries to become a Gotham crime lord in the recent demise of city kingpin Carmine Falcone, who perished in The Batman. He isn't doing this alone though. Always by his side are his insecurities, mommy issues, and a random Dominican kid, as he fights and tries to beat Ted Mosby's deceased wife, Mr. Krabs, his insecurities, and mommy issues. This show is about control and ambition. Control which the Penguin wants to claim. Ambitions he has that he makes up in his head. He's justifying himself and his childhood psychological issues by doing the shit he does here. Essentially proving himself to be the piece of shit he always wanted to be. There's this general fixation and hype around creating drama crime shows about narcissistic yet compelling villains as main characters, all of which somehow manage to still find endearment and idol role status from alt-right men all around the world. But I'm glad to say I don't think Oz Cobb will reach that same status because he is truly an evil piece of shit. He is as fishy as he smells. And guys, alright, pull out your wokeness guns and point them at my cranium because I'm about to speak some facts. The show about disgusting criminal men is most likely good because a woman directed and wrote it. I know, controversial take in 2024. I love that it commits to him being a villain. It doesn't try and make him misunderstood. It's also still crazy how the industry prefers to hire increasingly awful male directors and writers instead of just hiring competent women. I was really worried when Reeves said that the Reeves Batman universe would have no supernatural aspects. I think that's always a worry for superhero adaptations, but it's safe to say he and his team have not forgotten what makes superhero comics and stories fun. Yes, Penguin is seemingly a realistic person, but he still waddles, looks a bit like a penguin, and lives in a sewer and smokes. They get the characters. They just have a realistic twist to them, which makes them work better in a more grounded context, like nuanced, gritty crime dramas. For some reason though, they still decide to pussyfoot around some of his iconography, and I just don't get it. This dude is a poser. Give him his fucking top hat and monocle. Like, I wouldn't care if they didn't show it at all, but he's literally fucking holding it in his hand. I also still don't know why they changed his name to Oz Cobb. I get if that's what he goes by because he finds his real name embarrassing, but Oz Cobb sounds sillier than Oswald Cobblepot. Regardless, this show followed up some pretty great Penguin adaptations. Honestly, Penguin is a Batman character they seem to always get right in comic book movies, and even though this is definitely the most grounded one, it works so well for the character. It's very clear Oz is not an intelligent man, but he's the epitome of street smart. Sewer smart even. He's so ahead of everyone because he understands the streets so well, so this gangster portrayal is perfect for the character. Speaking of Oz, I just realized I was gushing so hard I forgot to mention Colin Farrell's performance. This dude absolutely kills it. He disappears into the character, the prosthetics, the voice, the gravity of it all, it's magical. Even though Farrell as the Penguin won't reach the cultural impact of Ledger as Joker, I'm going to say without a doubt that these two performances are on par with one another. The same way you cannot see Ledger in Joker, you can't see Farrell in the Penguin. It's mind-blowing. Not just him, but all the other characters bring this show to life. Kristen Milioti, who I'd only ever seen in How I Met Your Mother, embodies Sophia Falcone so fucking well. She ate so hard. How I Met Your Mother, more like How I Met Mommy, am I right, guys? She's a perfect adversary to Oz and is incredibly compelling. Also, Renzi Feliz, who plays this kid Vic, who the Penguin takes under his wing, is so good. I say kid even though he's like 7 years older than me, but you know what I mean. He fleshes out the world with his character, and he's a great counterweight to Oswald. I'm gonna drop another controversy bomb here. I was not a big fan of the Batman. When I think the Batman, I picture a Burton Batman. That was my jam. In short, I thought the movie was a bit messy in parts, mainly because I expected an enclosed narrative. But now with this show, I finally get it. I finally get Reeves' Batman universe. The show makes it all slot together, exploring the Riddler's impact, showing how deep-rooted the crime in the city is. It all works so well. It is thought out and detailed. The movie is elevated immensely by this show. I don't know if that's a criticism of the film, but I do enjoy art that can hold itself singularly, and I always thought the Batman was a setup more than its own cohesive film. But if that's the idea and we get a trilogy and tie-ins as good as this, I understand the vision and I fully support it. I guess it's foolish to think a comic book adaptation can work as a singular movie. Comics are inherently episodical and put into issues, and I do think this show and the movie are a successful rendition of those ideas. It's using the comic book formula to create some truly profound and deep stories in film and television. This show is the necessary punctuation for the characters in the movie. I also just appreciate the Gotham design more and more. There's something so poetic and comic book-esque about it, however it looks and feels real. The fact that most scenes in the show are set beneath things, under arches, bridges, to encapsulate the underground crime feel is so clever. Generally, this is visually one of the best Gothams we see. I personally prefer the hyper-stylized Gotham, but this is better than the Gotham show version and the boring Nolan version. I mean, honestly, there isn't much else to say about this show. I implore you to watch it, it's so good. It's also definitely watchable if you didn't watch the movie or care about superheroes. It just works well as a show, which is probably the highest compliment. Also, that ending had me flabbergasted, kerfuffled even. I give this show an incoherent scoring of
Pingüinos out of me la van a mascar.
Connoisseur Sam out.